Thanks all for being here. My name is Kyle Haugen. I'm the Rotary Public Image Coordinator for Zones 25B and 29, which are the zones that encompass essentially the middle third of the United States, from 5 clubs up in Canada down to the Texas-Mexico border, with everything in between. And we're happy to have you here today. This is one of those a fun interview or a fun time, because we like doing these webinars every now and again to identify key topics in the Rotary world when it comes to public image, and I think we'll get there today as well. So first off, I introduced myself, but I also want to introduce my team, because it's not just me as the public image coordinator, but we have a full team of people that can support all of you as well. And so you see that team on the screen. They're situated throughout our zones, from Texas to Kansas to Iowa to Chicago to Wisconsin to Minnesota. We kind of have you covered throughout the zone. And while this is our team for this year, there will be some changes next year as well. In fact, my 3-year term as the Rotary Public Image Coordinator, or team leader as I like to call it, will end this June 30th, as will several of our assistant public image coordinators. So I'd just like to take a minute here to thank Sean Berry, Hunter Byington, Scott McLaughlin, and Gretchen Nolman for their efforts over the past 3 years, including Gretchen's help in coordinating things behind the scenes today. It's been great working with them. I think we've worked hard to increase the understanding of public image, of what public image is and how it's important to growing Rotary. And we've had a little bit of fun while we've done it. We've developed friendships, and I'm going to miss working with everybody. So that's our team for this year. You'll meet the incoming team soon. Some of them will stay over, but some of them's 3-year term will be coming out here. So that's one of the things that I at least wanted to mention. And now, we'll move on, and we're excited about this webinar, and I think we'll provide some answers to some questions we often hear from many of you, but we'll get to that in a minute. A few announcements on things first, and there's going to be a couple links that show up in your chat box in a minute. But, our team knows that there's a ton of resources out there throughout the Rotary world. Some of them very useful. Some of them may not be fully compliant, looking at Google image search. But regardless of the resource, it's hard to find everything because they're all over the place. That's why we've worked hard to build a public image resource library on our zone website. Think of it as a one-stop shop that you should be visiting, and make it your first stop, in fact, because there's all sorts of good material on there. And if you can't find what you're looking for there, at least you can reach out to us. We have an email address on there that you can reach out to, because we'll find it. We'll put it on there for you. So that's the Public Image Resource Library. Speaking of our overall team, we're here to help. That's our job. Our job is to be a resource for all of you in your clubs and districts. If you need any help with idea generation, team meetings, training sessions, whatever it is, that's what our job is. Well, we're trying to be as proactive as possible as well. We're not mind readers, so feel free to reach out to us too. And as we move towards the 2024-25 Rotary year, I'm sure all of your clubs and districts are in the middle of putting your plans together, and it's a great time for us to be a resource there as well. One more resource for you, for those of you that are at least in district leadership in zones 25B and 29, please take advantage of our regional Rotary roadmap. This isn't an assignment. It's not homework. It's not another, it's not something else you have to do, but it's a great tool for you to utilize in your planning efforts. And it helps you not have to invent the wheel every year. Remember, the more we can build on our efforts year over year, the more successful we'll be in our clubs, districts, and throughout Rotary. And the roadmap is a great way to help us do that. So those are a couple of announcements. Just from a reminder standpoint, obviously the Rotary International Convention in Singapore is just around the corner from May 25th to 29th. For those of you heading to Singapore, our Zone 25 and 29 get-togethers on Sunday, May 26th from 1:30 to 4 o'clock local time. It'll be at the My Awesome Cafe. Attendees can buy their own beverages, and there's no entry charge, and the zone will pay for light appetizers. Last year, there were only over 300 people at our zone get together in Melbourne, and this will be a great time too. So if you're going to Singapore, check out the zone website, zones25b-29.org, because that will give you the details on where the My Awesome Cafe is and the times there. But it'll be a great way to connect right as the convention starts. If you can't travel to Singapore, be sure to visit your My Rotary page for updates on the conventions, including videos of the speakers, because they always put those up as well. So now we'll get started. And before we do, I'd like to mention that we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So if you have a question along the way for our presenters or any of us, message me in the chat and I'll coordinate that at the end. Also, as you know, we're recording this session, and we'll make sure the full webinar goes into our resource library where all of our old webinars as well. So, this came from a conversation I had a few months ago with one of our district governors in our zone. She emailed me because she'd received a message from a friend of hers that was impressed with a commercial she saw on one of the local television stations. And the governor asked me if I was aware of any media campaigns that were active at that time in that market. I checked with our speaker today and found out that while there weren't any planned media campaigns going on, it was most likely the result of Rotary's public service announcement campaign. And one of the questions that I hear a lot throughout interactions in our zone is, why doesn't Rotary do more to market for us? And I think, that's a tricky answer because, in different parts of the world, the messaging has to be a little different, and it's up to clubs to market in their own communities. Rotary is working hard to help market for us and develop different ways that we can promote Rotary. And so with that, let's hear from the person who's in charge of that. And I'd like to welcome Gene Saunders, the marketing lead brand experience at Rotary International, who oversees the PSA campaign, and also Ben Miller, who is a marketing coordinator at Rotary International. And we'll hear from Ben in a few minutes as well. So we're going to let him play cleanup a little bit. Gene, first off, thanks for being here today. And can you share a little bit about yourself and your career at Rotary?
Oh, well, thanks, Kyle. And I'm delighted to be here. When Kyle wrote to me and asked me that question, I said, here's an opportunity. I think I've participated in one of your meetings before, and I'm always impressed with the work that you do in this paired zone. So I've been at Rotary for about 9 years. It's hard to believe. I work in the marketing team, and Kyle, you kind of misrepresented my role on the PSA program. Just to be clear, it's actually a team. So Ben and I work closely with our marketing manager, Nancy Davidson, and our colleague, Amanda Gose, to manage this campaign. So in my role at Rotary, I know some of you on the call, it's my job to work with my colleagues to help create our marketing assets, to create our brand campaign, to work with our colleagues in various departments to create the brand center, and then promote the resources. Because as you said, Kyle, we as an organization rely on members all around the world to tell the story of Rotary. So it's our job and my focus to make sure that our members have what they need so they feel comfortable and confident and equipped to do that.
Great. And I know that obviously the PSA campaign is within your team's purview. So we'll start with an easy one at the top. What is Rotary's PSA, or Public Service Announcement Campaign? And can you provide a little bit of an overview and history of the campaign?
Sure. Well, this campaign's actually been around since March or April of 2020, which is not what we had in mind that we'd launch in the middle of a pandemic when we set out to do this. It's not the first PSA campaign that Rotary's done. We had one before I joined about 10 or 12 years ago. But PSA campaigns in ours at Rotary, it includes video ads, radio ads, some print ads, and some outdoor. And we work with an agency, and this is pretty usual for organizations like ours. We work with an agency whose name happens to be Plowshare, and their specialty is working with media outlets around the country. They have a great Rolodex. In fact, all of the media outlets, I think, are in their Rolodex. So we rely on them and their expertise to tell us what kind of content are media outlets looking for, what's going to play well in a given season. So that's sort of some of the nuts and bolts. So maybe I'll then talk a little bit about, well, what is a PSA? PSA, or public service announcement. So as part of their broadcast license, TV and radio stations agree to run ads for free from nonprofits in their unsold space. So sometimes that's the middle of the night, but it's not always the middle of the night. Certainly if things change and a sponsor is unable, for whatever reason, to have their ad run, spots free up. So when we look at our results, we can see that we have some of those kind of middle of the night times, but we also have some good times during the day. So in essence, what these media outlets do is they look at their broadcast schedule, they look at their sold airtime, and then they begin to fill it, the unsold airtime, with ads from organizations like ours, nonprofits. And so I think maybe one last thing I'll say about that is, so we don't know before the ads run where they're going to run. It really depends on that unsold space. So we can't say, hey, Kyle, there's something that's going to run in Minnesota next weekend. We don't know that. We don't know that because it's really up to the media or the folks at the local media outlets to make those decisions. So that's kind of at a high level what PSA is all about and what our campaign is about.
Sure. Thanks for that explanation to set a baseline. And what I'd like to do is play a couple examples that people can see of the video content that's been developed, because not only can these be shown or provided to media outlets, but they can be utilized on Facebook, LinkedIn, other social media sources as well as a way to promote Rotary too. So do you want to, while I share the screen, do you want to set up or introduce the first one here?
Sure. So the first one I think we're going to play today is the We Are Rotary spot. So that we have in 60 seconds, in 30-second versions. And that spot lives also in the Brand Center. And it's a spot that we created in, 2022, I believe. And when we added it to our PSA lineup, it really got some great airplay and some good attention. So it's basically like other PSA ads that we have. The idea is to showcase who we are and what we do, with a short voiceover and some compelling images that you'll see in a second.
Sure. All right, here we go.
When people ask us who we are, we tell them we're problem solvers, opportunity creators, and change makers. We are Rotary. Around the world, our network of 1.4 million neighbors, friends, and leaders volunteer their skills and resources to solve issues and address community needs. Take action with us. Find out more at rotary.org/action.
So, Gene, that was the 30-second version. Oh, hold on. I accidentally pressed play on it again here. That was the 30-second version. You said there's a 15-second, 30-second, and a 60-second as well.
60.
And I know they come in different, that was a 1-to-1 ratio, but there's a vertical side and also a kind of a widescreen side as well, right?
Yeah, that's right. So when we added those to the brand center, we wanted to make sure that they're available in multiple formats so that they could be played on Instagram, they could be played on Facebook, they could be played at 16:9, sort of typical widescreen, could be played on a club website. And
And
I'll also point out that some of them also have captions or subtitles, because we know often people listen on their phones and have the audio off. So a lot of people are listening with captions. So you'll
sure.
see with and without captions.
Sure. Okay. Let's play the second video. That's kind of closer. Well, I mean, it's close to my heart too. Why don't you tell us what the second one we'll see is here?
Sure, sure. I think this is kind of a interesting story. So the next one we're going to look at is Zero Dose. So Zero Dose didn't start out as a spot, that is an ad necessarily, but it was a video that our colleagues in visual media working with our Polio Plus team put together. We thought it was just a dynamite spot because it speaks to the importance of vaccinations, specifically the importance of vaccinations for kids under 5. And when we saw that, we said that is an excellent addition to our PSA lineup. So I think the original version was 2 minutes long, which is too long for an ad. So we worked with our visual media team to cut it down, and we cut it to a 60 and a 30. And so one of the great things about that is during World Immunization Week, for example, we do a specific outreach, or working with our vendor Plowshare, we do a specific outreach to media outlets to let them know that we have this, and this is a great time to play this spot.
Sure.
And we've gotten great take rates on that as well.
Good.
So can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah, and let's see this one. Again, this is the 30-second version.
There's nearly 678,290,000 kids under 5 around the world. But what's so important about being 5? Well, children who live to age 5 are twice as likely to reach adulthood. That's why vaccines matter so much. For 40 years, Rotary and partners have delivered vaccines globally. Like here and even here, in your neighborhood and around the world, Rotary is ensuring children grow up safe from preventable diseases.
All right, and that one's another good one, obviously. And what I like about these is, yes, they're, and today I think we're focusing this on the PSA campaign because a lot of people don't know about it, but these videos are great for whatever the purpose is. And I think a lot of people don't know that they exist. And so that's why we wanted to promote that they exist, which is going to lead us to the next question in a minute too. But I mean, as I talked to Gretchen, one of my assistants who's helping today, she said, yeah, I played both of these at our district conference, last month. And I know that with our club's, significant fundraiser, our music festival, that, we play Rotary videos between acts as commercials with the rest of the sponsors. Well, these two will be on the screens in front of 10 to 15,000 people to give them a good feel for what Rotary is. So they have multiple uses. And why don't you touch on that? But I'm also going to share my screen because, again, probably there's people on this call or watching the video once we get it done that didn't know these existed. But how do people find these videos? So I'm going to pull up my screen and we'll just start at Brand Center, and you can kind of walk through how you find these things.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that. So here we are in the Brand Center. So if you want to go to that Welcome to the Brand Center, what would you like to do today, Kyle? Let's go there and let's go to View All Videos.
And I will say, when this Brand Center got refreshed probably a year and a half ago now, and it gave this "What would you like to do today?" much more user friendly than it had been in the past. So I really appreciate how easy
Thank
it
you.
is, especially
Well,
since you don't have to sign in anymore either.
yes, the no sign in was definitely a game changer. So, so what we're going to do here is over on, if you see underneath the downloads highlighted, you've got your nav bar with filter asset type. So let's go to asset type and pull down on that little arrow, and we've got video there.
Yep.
So we had already selected videos, but I wanted folks to see that that filter is in action. And then if you go over to campaigns, Kyle, and you select people of action, then, and reset
Oops.
filter, excellent. Here are the people of action videos. So this is going to be the We Are Rotary that we just saw. It's going to be Power in Our Connections. It's going to be Rotary Response. Many of these come in regionalized versions. We changed the voiceover last year when we were in Melbourne. Some of them have South Asian voiceovers. And here you can see that we've got those multiple formats that Kyle was talking about. The 9:16, which is great for Instagram, the 1:1, which is good for Facebook or any other Square applications, and the 16:9s.
Okay.
So
I'm going to click on this one. We Are
yeah,
Rotary regionalized with subtitles.
yeah,
When you say regionalize, okay, so this says the Australian English voiceover.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what that
So
means.
that's so
Okay.
yes, yes. So, but let's just stay on this for a sec,
Sure.
Kyle. So notice under the video, we've got share and embed. So if you click on the share button, what that does, and then if you hit copy, that creates a link that you can obviously share with a colleague, someone you're working on. So you don't have to say, go to the brand center and do that. You found something and you can include that in an email or a text. The other thing that you can do, you see embed over there next to share. So if you want to
Oh boy.
share this video or any video on your club website, most website applications require an embed link because the video needs to be housed somewhere for it to run. So when you go into Club Runner or DuckDB or whatever your web application is, there will be, you will have the kind of interface that will allow you to add an embed link, and that's where you get the link. You used to have to go to I don't know, to YouTube or
Yeah.
stand on one foot and look to the north or whatever to find it. But you no longer have to stand on one foot to find it. It's right there. And
That's
then
good.
obviously you can just hit the download button and you'll download it to your local computer.
Yeah, and then this just says how big it is, and yeah, and there's
Yeah.
and let's go back. We searched for just the People of Action campaign, and there's 116 different different options there. Obviously, some of them maybe in different languages or different dialects with Australian English or things like that, but different lengths and different options to fit the needs to more people.
Yeah, and I'll mention one other thing
Yeah.
while we're here. If you go back up to asset subtype, so this is a brand new thing we just implemented recently. Just if you click on there so we can see the choices here, it breaks it out for social media and customizable. So a couple of the videos when we created them, they were uploaded with no voiceover. We include the script. So if you have the facilities or if you're working with a production house, you can customize the voiceover, and also the social media obviously will return those video formats that are optimized for social media. This time around, we decided not to do something for Facebook, something for Instagram, etc. We thought, well, let's start here and see what the response is. So we've just begun to promote that. I mean, it's long been a goal to make finding things on the brand center easier, to make especially finding our videos easier. So we're constantly trying to tweak our system so that we can do that. So please let us know. Just as Kyle said, ask, please tell
Yeah.
us what else, what's working and what's working less well, and we'll do our darndest to try to improve it.
Perfect. Thanks. And I appreciate walking through there. And I mean, even just some of those, the customizable ones with no voiceover would be great for somebody that, to use and to kind of use the script, but then along with it, make it more talking about their district or their area, that, Rotary does things here in the Twin Cities metro area and throughout the world or anything like that. So, yeah, that's cool there. Now, back to the PSA part of things, what kind of media outlets can these be presented in?
Well, the campaign, we've looked at the video assets. We also have radio, and we have print, and we also have some outdoor. So in TV, they've run so far in local broadcast, local cable, and national cable. I guess radio is radio. And we haven't had a tremendous amount of pickup in print, but we had an ad 2 years ago in People magazine, so that was huge. And then just this year, just in April, we had one of our ads picked up in Real Simple, which we were so excited about. There was much dancing around the office, but we found out that unfortunately, um, the clipping service made an error in that Real Simple, the digital version, ran our ad, but it wasn't in the print version. So if you go to Real Simple, the digital version, you will see a Rotary ad.
Yeah, and I know you and I talked about that at the time, and I remember you being so excited that it was like, wait, it must be in a regional version because it wasn't here, but it might be here. And so this is the third chapter of that story.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously those things happen. And my wife has been in marketing and those types of things for 20 years, and mistakes happen sometimes too when it comes to media buying and media planning and things like that. So, okay, so we know where to find the collateral. We know what kind of outlets can present them. How can Rotarians on this call promote the campaign in their area? How do they go about going, okay, well, I want this on the news here in Minneapolis?
Well, I'm going to go back for a sec to sort of how we work with our agency, Plowshare. So our contract with them is we have a couple of, they offer us a couple of blasts every year where they reach out to their thousands of contacts around the United States and promote our PSA campaign. So you know that all of the other nonprofits with PSA campaigns are doing the same thing, not just with Plowshare, but with other agencies who specialize in this PSA space. So there's a lot of competition. So so the radio stations know about it. They know where to find them, but they're not necessarily top of mind. So I think that's really where Rotary members can come in. So I think it's about starting with who's in your club, who's in your district, who knows someone who works at a media outlet, who knows someone, or like anything, it's possible to do cold calling. And so think about the radio stations or the television stations that you listen to, and do a little homework and look for their contacts.
Sure, that makes sense. And so if somebody was going to be cold calling, for lack of a better term, if they don't know, if I wanted on the CBS affiliate here in the Twin Cities, but I don't know anybody there, who are the people they can reach out to? In other words, who are the gatekeepers that we should, work to get in with and start moving that direction?
In most cases, Kyle, it's the program director.
Okay.
So the program director at a radio station or a television station, really, their responsibility is to ensure that their programming is complete. That is, they've got their content that they're airing, as well as their ad content and so on. So they're running that schedule. So some large media outlets might even have a PSA director, but I think it's a good place to start would be the program director. I mean, certainly every media outlet, every commercial media outlet has an ad sales rep. And that person may or may not be a good contact. I mean, certainly if you know someone who works in ad sales for a media outlet, I would absolutely encourage talking to them. But their motivation is different. They want to sell ad space. So the program director is a good place to start.
Great, great. And yeah, a warm lead is better than a cold lead. So reach out to somebody if you know them, or and go from there.
Right.
And well, it may not be in a lot of districts. There's going to be somebody in a Rotary Club somewhere that is a uh, public relations or marketing or advertising professional, that they may not want to be fully involved in public image within Rotary because they don't want to do in their volunteer world what they do in their day job, but they'll have contacts that they could help connect as well. So asking district leadership, hey, who do you know in these clubs in this area, may pay dividends as well. So I know, and you've shared some of these numbers with me in the past, so I can't really take any guesses here. But you've been doing this since 2020. There've certainly been some stories of success with the campaign. Can you share a few examples that show how powerful this can be?
Well, I think really maybe we could have some fun with this, because I think the numbers really tell the story, Kyle.
Sure.
Why don't we have folks guess?
Well,
So
that makes sense.
sharpen your pencils, folks. So we've been doing this since May of 2020. So we're almost at the 4-year, maybe exactly at the 4-year anniversary. So, and the way we're going to measure this is in value of media dollars. So if we had to go out on the open market and pay the rate card rate for the advertising that Rotary has received, what do you think it would be worth?
So let's put your guesses.
Put your
So
guesses in.
the total number, or the total amount of donated media that we've received in 4 years. So you can put a guess in the chat box and we'll see who's closest.
Okay, we've got
2 million, 4.8 million, 5. I feel like you want to be the last person here to bid, like Price is Right, that you're either going to bid $1 or you're going to bid $1 more than everybody else.
So I'm going to say that Bill, you're the closest, but you're not very close, and
Ooh.
you're way under. So anybody want to try again?
We could add all these up and multiply them a time.
Oh,
Now Bill's
okay.
closer.
Bill,
all right.
priceless. Oh, and Carrie, I love your response.
Carrie's sucking up today. That's what we know.
Yeah. Okay, 45 seems to be a good guess. It is a good guess. 58 billions of dollars. I love that.
We would love that.
Actually, it's 35.5 million dollars. So if we were to go out and buy rate card rates, that's what it would cost Rotary. So I think that's impressive. We make an investment for sure, in that we develop the content, and
Sure.
that content certainly has a budget associated with it, and we also work with the agency who has the expertise and relationships with those media outlets to get us in the market. But I guess what I'm thinking is that if we have this team and other teams like yours across the United States reminding our media outlets that our content is there, that this program is only going to go in one direction, and that's up.
So how much in the last month? Let's say April of 24. And I'm stealing that,
Yeah.
Again, as I said at the beginning, always with any other presenters, make sure you're on the same page so you can lead somebody as well. I may have the answer here.
Yes. So we won't make you guess on this one, but just this past month, we had 800,000 814.9 thousand to be exact, in donated media.
So, Gene, that's one way to measure it, and I know there's a different way that media outlets and people in that industry measure it as well, as it's the number of impressions, which sometimes it can look like it's a really large number, but in that April of 24 timeframe, and this is a question for everybody else that I'm asking not on the script. What, that $815,000, what does that extrapolate out to in terms of roughly the amount of impressions there?
I don't have that at the tip of my fingers, but and Ben, I'm not going to put you on the spot. So we'll get through this, and between now and the end, one of us
Cut to
will.
Ben scrambling to find that.
No, Ben. He's actually just over there, and I don't want him to throw a shoe at me.
Ben, don't throw anything, please. Yeah.
But we will get that, because I think you make a good point, Kyle. It's an important number. I mean, that's the value, but what are the impressions?
Yeah.
But we'll get you that.
And I'm trying to find, even because I know in an email that you sent me, it was there. I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head as well. So we'll find that and we'll go forward. So, all right. In the meantime, is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to share about the PSA campaign? And Ben, after Jean makes her answer, that's where you're batting cleanup and you get to chime in as well.
Well, I guess I would just reiterate, the strength of those numbers. So as a nonprofit organization where we have limited number of media of marketing dollars, and we need to make very, very good use of those marketing dollars, and we believe that this PSA campaign is a way to do that. But like the PSA campaign, relying on spreading the word, so does sort of all of the marketing we do. So I think that's an important piece of inspiring. My goal is to inspire you so you can inspire others. We're not expecting that you do all the legwork here, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a public image person who's spreading the word about the campaign. And I think the other thing too is, as much as we want more airplay of the campaign, I think let other members of your clubs, of your districts, know that this is going on, because I am guessing, Kyle, that when that the person reached out to you and saw the ad, they had a sense of pride when they saw the Rotary ad. I know I certainly do whenever I see Rotary ads in public, in the media. And so I think it's letting our fellow members know about this campaign, and knowing that the word is getting out. We might not be seeing it because we might not be listening to that radio station at the right time, or that television station at the right time, but reminding people that this is happening, I think, is good. And then the last thing I'll say is, we're continually adding new assets to the brand center. So our goal is to add more videos, to add more photographs, to continue to update the templates. We're working on a template right now, an events template, more to come on that later. So I'd encourage you to keep coming back to the brand center and looking for goodies. If you can't find what you're looking for, let your public image leaders know, let us know, and we'll do what we can to put it in the works.
Absolutely. And I did find at least a spreadsheet you had shared with me. So I'm not gonna share the whole spreadsheet because there's a lot of numbers on it. But for February, just for the zero dose ad on local broadcast television, the donated value was $203,000. The total airings of it were just over 2,100. The total impressions was 13 million, meaning the number of eyeballs, 2 eyeballs per person. So that's 13 million people, not 13 million eyeballs, in 48 stations and 31 markets. So a lot there. Conversely, at the same time, People of Action during February, $650,000 of donated value with 36 million impressions. And that's the thing about marketing. You know, it takes people to see things multiple times. And yes, some of these are at night, and those numbers may be a little bit inflated, but there's still a lot of people seeing those, and that's the cool thing about this. Ben, you
Hello.
oh, he's off. I saw him go off
Yeah,
mute right away.
yeah. Because
What have we
I had the
not
answer to the
covered that
question,
you
and
want to touch base on?
well, I've been wiggling over here because I had the answer to the April question, and I wanted to share it. So the value that we discussed was just over 800,000, close to 815,000, and the impression number is just under 45 million. So that's a pretty good bang for your buck, no matter how you really look at it. So what I can add is as I mean, just I guess to repeat what Gene said, all these tools are available, pretty easy to find on the Brand Center. Using them for PSAs, you know, calling program directors, emailing program directors. Don't be surprised if it doesn't happen on the first try. Sometimes it takes a few times. You know, in addition, you can share it on your social media. You can direct them to your social media and show that people are reacting to it. That it's, you know, remind them some of the good that gets done going on within, you know, the programs that you're working with. So, I mean, I guess that's really all I wanted to add is you know, these are multi-purpose, and there's different sizes, shapes, times, and these PSA numbers add up really quick.
Yeah.
And to the point that Kyle just made, it might not always be at prime time while you're with your family having dinner, but people see these, and I have seen them during a sporting event. So they do every now and then really catch a good spot.
Good. Let's see. We're going to do a bonus question here for both of you. You know, we went through Rotary's Brand Center a little bit. Gene, what are your favorite three, not two, not four, your favorite three items on Brand Center that you think people should utilize?
Well, Kyle, I would say I love all my children. But let's see, three. Well, first of all, we already talked about the People of Action videos, but I'd have to start there. They come in many shapes and sizes. They show who we are and what we do, and I think they really help frame that question and answer that question: what is Rotary, in an inspiring way. And I'd like to give a shout out for my club, who uses the People of Action videos. What they do when they program their social media schedule for the upcoming couple weeks, they include and they rotate a People of Action video or one of the PSAs in that rotation. And it runs on LinkedIn, it runs on their Facebook page, and they've got pretty good engagement. So that People of Action videos would be my first. I think the second one I'll say is the club brochure. The thing that excites me about that is it was built, or the intent was, so that clubs around the world could really showcase who they are and what they do by adding their own pictures, changing out the copy. So our goal with that was to really provide a lot of flexibility so people could showcase their own unique club personality. And then this is a tough one, the last one. I kind of like that content we have under our brand. I think there's some good guidance there. Full disclosure, what was a lot of what used to be in the voice and visual identity guidelines live there. But I'm going to say some PowerPoints that we've recently added. And if you'd like, I can certainly tell you where they are, and then after we've given folks a chance to ask questions, maybe if there's time, Kyle, we can go find them on the Brand Center. Okay, so here we are. If we go, if we start with downloads, and then view all. So there you go, and click view all over there on the right. And then under asset type, on the filter level, select club and member resources, and then apply, and then asset subtypes and presentations. And here we have I think what's this 11 presentations. These were developed as quick chats. My colleagues and I gave these as short presentations at convention in Houston, in Melbourne. We're going to give them in Singapore, and we shared them on the Brand Center because we think they're kind of a great way to convey just short snippets of information relative to these various areas of public image marketing and PR. So these all have all of the photographs are, we have license to use these. There's no issue using them. And then they all have speaker notes. So you can use them if you're doing a training or a learning session. You can use them as sort of micro content at a club meeting, and use them in public image seminars as well. So anyway, I'm kind of proud that we got these up because this was something people had been asking us for, and it's something that we put up. So I guess I would say, as you explore these, what else can we offer? Are these working for you? Is this helpful? So those are my 3 faves.
Cool. Ben, I'll give you 1 fave for right now. since you didn't know this question was coming your direction.
Yeah, you actually saved me because she actually took 2 of mine. So
Oh, well, there you
worked
go.
out perfect. I was going to say our brand and the presentations as well. But my third one is if you go to the People of Action materials, the templates. I really love the specifically the print ad template, the digital banner template, and the Facebook post template. It's really easy to create those with any image you want, including images of your club, your event, your in action. Obviously, people are not in there, but a photo of you and your club being you and your club, and add one of the inspiring verbs, together we, what have you, on it. That's one of my favorites.
Sure. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to just pause this. Gene and Ben, thank you so much for being here today. I think we shared a lot of great information, and we'll move. I know we have a couple of questions. I don't want to keep people for too long, but maybe we'll stay for another 8-9 minutes until about 5 o'clock. A couple questions that I saw in the chat that I'll let you tackle. What is the most effective way to promote Rotary with the goal of increasing membership? And do you know what has worked best with the best measurable results? And I know that that might be a tricky question from being inside headquarters and it being such a sprawling organization, but do you have any answers to that question? There we go.
I mean, that is the question. That is the question, right? What is there a silver bullet? And I think the answer is no, there isn't. But ultimately, I mean, I'll answer it as kind of a marketer, and that is when I meet people and they ask what I do, I tell them I work at Rotary. They say, "Oh, Rotary, what's that?" I might have heard of it. I start with, where are they coming from? What's going to interest them? Who are they? What do I know about them? And then how can I tell my Rotary story? How can I talk about what my club does in relationship to what they're interested in into relationship to who they are and what they might get out of Rotary. So I think at a kind of a micro level, it all starts with the audience. Who are they? What are they looking for? And then how can we tell the Rotary story in a way that's effective for them? I think bringing people in to experience Rotary in your community is the most effective thing there is you can do. So developing promotions to drive people to come to an event, whether it be a service project or a fundraiser, or even, not even, I don't mean to be club meetings, or a club meeting or whatever it is, driving people in so that they can see you and your club in action. So developing then promotions to drive that that traffic. And so then the advertising that we've been talking about is really kind of the air cover. It is what helps people understand who Rotary is, so that when you are talking to them about an event, about an activity, they'll, oh yeah, I understand. I've seen the ads. So all of these things work together. In marketing, we talk about the funnel. We've got the top of the funnel activities. That's a lot of what we've been talking about today. The awareness, the image building materials, and then as we get kind of moved down the funnel, it's the bringing them in, helping them see, and then when they do come in, connecting them with them in a way that's relevant, in a way that matters to them. That's my kind of
And I think
long-winded
that's
answer. Sorry.
well, and I think that's the challenge just in marketing in general, be it for Rotary or be it for a business, is that you want this quantifiable result that can't be necessarily quantified because everybody makes, let's call it, purchasing decisions, which joining a Rotary Club is a purchasing decision. They make those decisions at different points along their experience, and it's usually not the first time they see a commercial or they talk to somebody or the first event, but the more we can position ourselves at those times to have good content that is at least appealing, that at some point they're going to go, oh yeah, or that they're thinking about Rotary when it is time to give back to their community or whatever from that standpoint. One of the other questions here is, obviously the People of Action campaign is a very broad who we are. Are you thinking, or is anything being developed that are a little bit more specific? And Pete gave some examples, uniting for peace, clean water for all, neighbors helping, just something that is more targeted to a cause. Because I mean, as I've said for almost 3 years, and Gene, I think you and I have talked about this, one of the greatest strengths of Rotary is also one of its greatest weaknesses, is that we do so many different things. It's really difficult to succinctly promote what the heck we do. So are there any of those types of things that are more cause specific, even call it area of focus specific, that might be in the makings?
Yes, and yes. So we, as many of you know, or maybe you don't know, we have an area of focus team, subject matter experts in each of our areas of focus, who support the work that's done around the world on the global grant side. And our team, marketing, has worked with them over the years and has created some area of focus videos. Those are actually have been available on the Brand Center. What we're doing now, actually, over my shoulder, one of my colleagues is working with those folks on the area of focus team to develop a new suite of areas of focus videos. So those area of focus videos will be well suited to play for internal audiences, but also for external audiences as well. So that's something that we're working on.
Cool. Maybe one other question, if somebody has one or so. I don't want to keep everybody for too long here. And Gene and Ben, would you be willing to just put your email addresses in the in the chat so people can get a hold of you, and I'm going to do the same. But anybody else have one more question that we haven't totally covered or anything like that? Any final thoughts, Gene or Ben, in terms of how people can utilize you or us or anybody? Is it okay to share those videos on our social platforms?
Yes, please share. Please,
Yes.
please, please,
Yes.
please.
Not
please
only
share.
okay, it is encouraged, and
Encourage. Please
yes.
share. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I guess yes, I would say, well, first of all, thank you. Thank you, well, Kyle and Patrick and everyone for this opportunity, but more importantly, thank you for what you do to promote Rotary, to encourage others to promote Rotary. I know that not everyone joins a service organization to work in marketing and PR, but without folks like you, the robustness of our public image wouldn't be there. So I think so. It starts with you. So what you do is super important. And I guess the other thing I would say is just kind of repeating what I said before, and that is our job is to help you. So like in that Jerry Maguire movie, help us help you kind of thing. So we can't deliver everything that's asked of us. We support the entire world, but please tell us what's working, what's not working as well, how the brand center is working for you, how the assets, talk to us about your successes. We'd like to share those successes.
And examples of assets that you'd like to see in the brand center.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and those communications can come through us if you're more comfortable talking to us, and we'll run them to Gene and Ben, or you can go straight there as well. So, all right. Well, thank you both for being here, and thanks for everybody that attended today. Hopefully you learned a little bit, and hopefully we see the amount of donated funds in terms of PSAs go up. Gene?
Yes, sorry. So this is the Colombo close, but I would just say that the report that we shared with you that that Ben carefully puts together every month, that's something that our plan is to send it out to any RPIC, ARPIC who's interested in getting those results. It's a lot of detail. We don't send it out to everyone, not because it's private or anything like that, but we don't want to overwhelm you with information that may not be actionable. So that's something that we will be sending out to the public image leaders in the zone. So you can, and I think I saw some of the questions come in, where do these run? So that's something that we're just kind of talking to Kyle and Patrick about that.
In fact, maybe we'll put it at least on our resource library and just let people know it's there. And if they want to geek out on some numbers, they can, because it is really it is interesting. I mean, that the Lewiston, Idaho had one airing on February 4th, and it had 1,241 impressions. The value of that was $54.23. And I just picked one there, but yeah, they're all over the place. Minneapolis and St. Paul to Anchorage, Alaska, to all over Abilene, Texas. So we can certainly post those and help people interpret them as well. So yeah. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me and Patrick Harrison, who's going to be succeeding me as public image coordinator. He was not able to be here today at last minute. He had a car emergency this afternoon. Basically, his tire deflated all the way to zero, and he is stuck in a parking lot in Austin, Texas. So, but he mentioned that we may try to do one more of these before the year is over, and I just need to have a chat with him about what the content would be. But I'm having an idea that it could be something fun and useful to everybody. So, with that, have a good evening and keep promoting all the good we do